Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement and another She-Hulk quick hitter edition of My Mom's Basement. It is exclusive to YouTube like all of these have been except for the first one. That was a good little kickoff we had on the podcast feed, but now the podcast feed is reserved for House of the Dragon content, She-Hulk content on YouTube, and I'm excited to break down episode 4, Clem, because I'm saying it right off the bat. This was my favorite episode of She-Hulk yet.
Wow, number one, huh? Number one. I can see that. I think there's going to be a lot of people who agree with you. I don't know if it's my favorite. I didn't think of that, but it's 4 for 4. I'm telling you, there's a chance that She-Hulk could end up being my favorite Disney Plus show. I don't know if that's like a hot take, but I do think there's a chance, and it's not going to be the best, but I just like this is my kind of shit right here. It's fun. It's we'll talk about some of the stuff at the top, but it's very self-aware, and I don't know, I'm just having fun right now. It just feels like a comic book. I think we said that last episode. I'm just having fun. I don't think it's better than WandaVision or Loki. As I think of it, that might have been an extreme hot take to have. When Bob's eyes get that big, I'm like, oh shit. You're basically doing our YouTube thumbnail picture pose. You're like, by the
no,
way,
I loved it. This is like low stakes, and it's amazing. The first episode almost feels like they call it like a zero issue in comic books or like
yeah.
an origin story because it doesn't feel like the rest of the episodes that are more procedural on the court cases, and you get like one court case an episode. This was so low stakes. It had a great cameo from Wong. Every Wong scene I was into. I was laughing. I was legitimately cracking up at the Madison stuff. I thought that was so funny. All of the Sopranos references, the spoilers, and like you said, the show being ahead of us. Like when Wong showed up, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Wong is back. And she's like, I see you're excited that Wong is back. That's basically like creating Twitter armor for the show for a week. And I was like, is she talking to me? Is she talking about me right now?
I'm telling you, man, I like these things. I like the meta-ness of it, the self-aware. That's the way. Sometimes I'll blog like that too, where it just is kind of gets weird or
It's like
whatever.
self-deprecating. It's the first
Yeah,
MCU show to be self-deprecating to the viewer. It's amazing.
and as I always say at Barstool, if you can make fun of yourself, that's Dave's favorite jokes I've ever made. I know is what stuff when I've made fun of myself. So
Yeah.
that's a good way to go about life: is be a little self-deprecating, have fun, let loose, and this show is exactly. I don't know if I think this was like best case scenario, at least for me. This was the best case scenario of what this show could be. And so far, so good. And again, our boy Wong, the Twitter armor, Bob, you said it best. If we had bought Wong, if we bought Wong stock back when we fell in love with him, and I think Infinity Wars, when we said we are the Wong guys, we are Wong podcast. When you see this face, you think Wong. We would be like quadrillionaires right now. It's getting in at Bitcoin when it was, a fraction of a penny. And I'm just so happy our guy is just thriving right now. He's
He
thriving.
deserves it. He's
It's
got to
fun to
have
survive.
like as many appearances in the MCU as anybody at this point. He's been in everything.
Yeah, Wong is just throw him in there. I'm trying to think of like another character in another
I
show or
think
something like
he's up
that.
there with like Robert Downey Jr. And Downey Jr. obviously didn't have like the TV shows to appear in, but Wong was in Shang-Chi this year. He was in this. He was in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. He's in both the Avengers movies. He's in Doctor Strange that came out before that. He's been in the MCU for so long. It's crazy. He deserves it. We love our guy Wong.
Is he like? I'm trying to think of like another like franchise. Like maybe it's like Principal. I feel like Principal Skinner got a whole lot of time in The Simpsons. Like someone like that, like a supporting character that's just always somehow involved. That's our guy Wong. I fucking love this guy. I love him.
Let's get right into the episode. We kick off at a magic show. We're watching a magician named Donnie Blaze, which is very funny because Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze, this guy Donnie Blaze, very similar, very similar. He's doing kind of cheesy magic tricks. The audience isn't really into it. They're yawning. They're falling asleep. It's a scattered audience too. And then he's like, "All right, I need a volunteer for my next trick." And a drunk girl steps up and she volunteers herself. And this drunk girl was the MVP of the episode for me. Her name was Madison with two N's, one Y, but not where you think. And she made me laugh in every scene she had. She played the drunk, basic white girl so well in this episode and really just cracked me up. He pulls out a sling ring and sends her to Nepal, like through an actual portal. He opens it up and everything. And I'm thinking, where the hell did he find this sling ring? Like, did it come off Doctor Strange and Spider Man by the Statue of Liberty? But it turns out later he was actually a student of the mystic arts or whatever, and then got kicked out because he summoned kegs for everyone that was in part of his class, which blew my mind because when I think back to Doctor Strange and he's standing outside the temple, please let me in, please, my hands. And they're like, no way. And they have to watch his dedication. They just allowed some frat guy in before that. Is that why it was so hard for Doctor Strange to get in? They're like, we're not having another issue like Donnie.
Yeah, that's a good point. Donnie ruined it. He's the older brother that ruined it for the younger brother, and he had strict parents the rest of his life. I could also see if they had told me that during the snap, when they're just like, we need someone who has like wizard capabilities, like they just started like greenlighting people, letting them in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe it's almost like back in the day, like Barstool was like, you feel like you had to like just to catch someone's eye was so much harder. And now that we've become a bigger company, it's a little easier to get in. But it's like back in the day, you would basically be Dave's slave for like a year or two and just work for free and just work your ass off. So shout out Donnie Blaze, by the way. I was like, wait a minute. Are we talking Johnny Blaze? Are we talking the Ghost Rider here? And my fucking antenna was up about it. He's talking about fire. And I'm like, is there going to be a multiverse? And then Donnie Blaze is Johnny Blazing. I had the fucking Raiders up the whole time. No, it's just Billy Walsh. Shout out Billy Walsh from Entourage. It was
my God. HBO. It was Billy, wasn't it?
It was Billy Walsh, Bob.
Holy crap.
One in the same.
Wow, that just blew my mind. I love Billy Walsh.
This was the HBO episode. Yeah. Calling everyone a suit. Yeah, that would have been great if he would started calling Wong a suit because he was like a proper sorcerer or something like that. But just seeing Billy Walsh on my TV, we had The Sopranos. All we needed was the shh.
My God. HBO Max, they showed in the background too. It was like the right interface, and it's such a nerdy thing, but like the details of that, I was like, I appreciate that.
I am happy that HBO Max exists in the MCU in a weird, strange way. Maybe I guess because like again, House of the Dragon, subscribe on the YouTube, subscribe on the feeds, all that kind of stuff. I feel like we're just back. Like we're just back. Everything's good again. Thrones is good again. Everything in the world is blooming right now, and our boy Wong is fucking reaping the benefits of the MCU as well. So yeah, shout out Billy Walsh getting some work here. I don't know if Donnie Blaze will be around much longer, but I kind of like the idea of it. Oh, and I like also Madison. I didn't. Mm-hmm. I was like, where the fuck is this? Why she's talking about right here? And I'm like, is it MYADIS? Yada yada yada. But then it's MADISYNN according to the subtitles. So that's how we spell Madison. And she's a woo girl. Anyone that watched How I Met Your Mother, that was one of my favorite shows back in the day. They call them the woo girls. It was funny. It was just nice to know that it wasn't just like the idiots I was around. There'd always be, that group of woo girls who just be drunk, spilling out of their dresses, acting goddamn crazy. Madison, and there's a millions of Madisons in this world. So shout out to you girls for keeping the world moving.
She was awesome. And Ken Jack also told me after the episode, we texted back and forth real quick about us both liking the episode. Ken Jack said the actress that plays her follows his meme account, Sharon Left Me.
Yes.
He's like, that's how you know she's a freak. Yeah.
Yes.
So Wong, as you mentioned, was watching The Sopranos. You hear the intro music. And at first I was like, he's got to be watching The Sopranos, right? You don't just use that intro music as music in your show at this point. It's so iconic and fits that show so much. And of course he is. Madison comes down and she spoils a huge death. I'm not even going to say it on this show because I haven't seen The Sopranos before. So I'm just going to try to forget the name.
What?
I know. I've seen like a lot of the first season, but never continued. And I've grown up around the area and everything, but yeah, still haven't seen it.
Bob.
So all the spoilers in this episode, I was also like, I was like laughing and trying to be like, all right, I'm just going to try to forget what I just heard because I want to watch it. I really do.
You're a Jersey guy too, and I let you off the hook with some of the nerdy stuff. Back in the day, you hadn't watched Thrones when everyone else did. Listen, not everyone got on the Thrones train when it was really chugging. There was some other things. What was the other? Was it Back to the Future? Yeah, there was a couple and that's not completely nerdy, but Jersey guy, you even were talking like satin dolls. That's bada bing right there. Yeah. Every Jersey person says it when they pass by it to someone not from Jersey. My guy,
I know
Bob.
all the spots. Yeah, I just haven't seen the show. And I'm Glennie's friend too. I feel bad even like being friends with Glennie and not having seen The Sopranos. I texted him right away when I saw the episode this week, and I was like, "You should catch up on She-Hulk."
To be fair, Glenn is the Sopranos guy, but he became the Sopranos guy because he had never watched Sopranos, and then he
True.
watched Sopranos. So,
True.
and everyone forgets Robbie's very young. I mean, how old were you when Sopranos was like on? Like, when did the Sopranos finale?
Yeah, see what the lifetime of I remember being alive for it because I remember my family getting together to watch the Sopranos finale, me having to go to bed, and then being very upset about the famous goes right to black.
2007. So how old is Bob Fox in 2007?
I'd be 9.
Too young to watch The Sopranos. So again,
Yeah.
And then it's like, when are you going to like just get in and just binge The Sopranos? You're just, it's a different world, disconnect from my generation.
Now I guess now is the time. Me and Wong can go, and I can be inspired by Wong and make my way through the series.
You got some motherfucking bombs dropped on you with these spoilers. This is part of my take right here too.
I was going to say the spoiler that they dropped here, the big death or whatever, was that like saying the Red Wedding spoilers in Sopranos terms?
Pretty close. I'd say I'm thinking about any characters that died. I mean, these are two of the big ones right there. And like Red Wedding, you're like, oh, a red wedding. What does that mean? Oh, it sounds like it's something bad. They'd be like, this person died in the Red Wedding. That person died in the Red Wedding. So that really, really hurt. I was actually trying to think, like, how do we put like a YouTube thumbnail, like Wong, part of my take? Because that's what they do. They do the spoilers, the Sopranos spoilers with Hank.
I was trying to think about the thumbnail this week, and if you haven't noticed, we're kind of trying to get more and more ridiculous by the week with our thumbnails for this show. Rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth has to be in there, right? This has to be the Rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth show as well.
We waited a long time to be able to use that one.
Is it too soon to make her green? Like a Hulk?
Queen Elizabeth back in Hulk form? She's just green. Hey, man, whatever
Kingpin next to her for some reason, her and Kingpin, because she used to roll around with that big guy. You know that big guy?
Oh, yeah, the absolute unit.
He's kind of a Kingpin.
It's kind of is.
They got the same body type, yeah.
I mean, some would say he's more of a Kingpin than Kingpin because he's next to the Queen, right? Everything in that body. That's a royalty joke right there.
And there's a new king now. It's kind of Thrones-esque. This is an insensitive way to talk about it.
This is very insensitive. And also, that person who tweeted, can't believe King Viserys lasted longer than Queen Elizabeth. That is a great point. We thought Viserys was cooked in Thrones. In House of the Dragon.
Well, his fingers didn't last longer than her, They're in, what did Thor say to Sif? They're in Valhalla. So Jennifer's dad comes in. She ramps up the security around the house because his daughter got attacked, which was another great dad moment because she's like, Dad, I'm a Hulk. Like, what are you going to do to help protect me? He's like, no. What am I going to do? Help just stand around? No, I'm getting a shovel for the bodies, and you don't ask questions about it. Wong visits Jennifer. He says, Donnie Blaze, summoned the free kegs back in the day. We kicked him out, and now he's using our stuff. You have to basically cease and desist him. And she's like, do you have him sign an NDA? Did you have him sign a contract? It's like, no, we kind of just go on vibes at Carmitage, and that's not good enough. So they give him a cease and desist. He just like makes it disappear into thin air. He also had a great like old man with him. Reminded me of in The Prestige. They have like Michael Caine is Hugh Jackman's like assistant in a way. Like it was a relationship like that. And they had a very funny on-screen dynamic. And then we get like kind of a tease for later on in the episode, Nikki and Jennifer at a bar together, Nikki being Jennifer's best friend, and she jokes about creating a She-Hulk dating profile. She's like, if you create a She-Hulk dating profile, you'd get more matches than if you were Jennifer.
And I mean, I think she nailed it. Obviously, we see
she was
that
right.
Later on we're talking
gets,
dating.
a billion matches when she becomes She-Hulk on the Tinder or whatever of the Marvel universe.
I would have loved it. I mean, obviously they know each other, but I would have loved, again, I bet Wong's on those dating sites. Would have loved to see him and her match.
If he showed up and she was just like, oh my God, Wong has a profile. It's like him like singing karaoke, like at the end of Shang-Chi in his picture.
Yes, that would 100% be Wong's. There's actually similarity. There's a shared DNA between Wong and our guy Lao Chon. Right? Like, get him out at the karaoke. You're having yourself.
When we could make like amazing deep fakes with the, technology of our phone in 10 years or whatever, we're going to have to deep fake Wong onto that video of Loud Sean doing Mr. Brightside. And it's just like, he's going crazy, bit like a tornado around the room.
I'm just going to come out and say it. I guarantee Loud Sean has fought the Abomination at one point of his life. In real life, he fought the Abomination. There's no doubt in my mind. I love. Again, we said this with She-Hulk, and I didn't think it was actually going to play out this much. Where we say, like, if this was like real life, like in The Boys, where you have these superheroes who might be kind of a dick, or in this case, the mystic art students are abusing their powers, their magic that they learned. This shit is just fun as hell. It reminds me of Joe Bluth. Bob, please tell me you watched Arrested Development.
I saw a decent amount of Arrested Development, like probably like the first 2 seasons.
Okay, so that's your first 3 seasons.
I didn't see any of the Netflix stuff.
Yeah, the Netflix is where it kind of goes off the cliff just because everyone had so much schedules. But Joe Bluth, one of the all-time, Will Arnett, I believe, is the actor for him. Oh, like, I just picture fucking our guy Donnie Blaze saying,
"Take it seriously." The sign.
Yeah,
that's one of the all-time memes.
Illusions, the magic tricks.
That meme is so applicable to nerds across every single franchise. Star Wars nerds, you could hit them with that. Lord of the Rings nerds, Game of Thrones nerds, like all of them have that aspect of them. Like, we demand to be taken seriously. I had the guy tweeting me when I was tweeting about Game of Thrones versus Lord of the Rings. Someone said, "You probably don't get tweets about Lord of the Rings because those that watch it are adults and intellectuals who are not online."
Yes, awesome, fucking great, man.
Come on.
We smoke pipes, exquisite pipes that you cannot buy at a typical pipe store. They are handcrafted in Nepal, where Wong is from.
I'm going to start saying that about She-Hulk just to confuse people. Like, only intellectuals watch She-Hulk. I'm sorry.
When they said "by the book" and he goes, "The Book of Ashanti," I did the pointing meme. I did the Dalton pointing meme. That was a great callback too.
That was really good. Jennifer goes on a couple awkward ass dates, a lot of really bad first dates. They flash to the court case with Wong. He summons Madison, even though he doesn't want to testify. Donnie Blaze goes through this whole magic spiel in the court where he changes the color of his suit from white to black. It was funny in front of the judge and everything.
The lawyer was a magician. The lawyer was a magician.
They were doing tricks behind him. Yeah.
That was such a good twist. That made me laugh so fucking hard.
And the judge decides, like, you can continue doing your shows for the time being. Like, I can't shut this down. You can't cease and desist the magic or whatever. And Madison spoils more of The Sopranos on the way out with Wong, which was another funny scene. Madison went like she batted like 900 for me on her jokes. She was very funny.
What did she call him? Wonger?
Wonger. Yeah, the whole show. Wonger. Yeah. And the post-credit scene was so good when she was asking about all the drinks, kind of like flirting with him, calling him Wonger the whole time. "What's your favorite drink?" He's like, "Gin and tonic." She's like, "Ooh, Wonger, you could party." The look he gave, he was just like, "Oh, yeah."
Wong gets down. I don't know if you're ready for the Wong man to let his hair down, Madison. I'm just going to say that. And I'm sure Madison gets down, but the Wong man, when he lets that robe fly, watch out.
Jennifer makes the She-Hulk dating profile. Immediately matches go through the roof. She's like, "Damn, this is a blow to Jennifer's ego." She goes on a date with a couple people that were all, again, like bad first dates. One of which, David Otunga, former WWE wrestler, and Jennifer Hudson's, I believe, ex-husband now, maybe still husband, but he was married to Jennifer Hudson, the one that's like, "How much can you deadlift?" Like, I just lifted 600 pounds and I'm not even a superhero. That one, he used to be in the WWE.
I saw someone tweet out there, like, how come all the guys in She-Hulk are kind of just like the scummiest of scums? And it was nice to see, like, they did have like one or two redeeming guys, but it's been a tough look so far.
By the end of the episode, though, they unredeemed.
Yeah, they unredeemed the one dude. By the way, you mentioned him, the pediatric oncologist. Can make an admission here, and this is a safe space, right? The basement's a safe space.
Oh, safe,
whatever you want. I put him on the sus list, Bob.
No, I think he deserves it though. The way he left at the end, that was dick move.
That was a dick move. Granted, like, we both have lovely women. If those women had demon ears on them, I think we might have been like, pump the brakes on this one maybe a little bit. But a pediatric oncologist should be above. My thing is, he's a pediatric oncologist, right? So it means he's smart. That means he's handsome. He's handsome, dreamy eyes.
Yeah.
He was like built though too. Like he was obviously. So I'm like, this guy checks basically all the fucking boxes, as we learned. Maybe kind of a dick. I shouldn't be throwing the pediatric oncologist on the sus list no matter what though. I have to give them like 2 episodes before he goes on the sus list. It's like throwing the little cute dog on the sus list with Sparky. R.I.P. in peace.
Yeah, he is nice to her at the start. He asks about her at the date. Big thing on a first date, right? He asks to split fries with her.
Yep.
She's like, "Oh my God, let's take those fries to go." brings him back to the apartment. And then we go back to the magic show. Again, Donnie Blaze tries to open some portals, and a demon, literally, like the egg of a demon, hatches in the hand of another drunk girl. And demons come out, they take over, they try to call She Hulk to come and help. She's trying to make out with this guy, so she keeps like putting her phone down, putting it to the side. And then Wong is eventually like, "Why are you not? Oh, sorry," and like sees them about to make out. Pulls her in though. She gets to be a Hulk, throws a bunch of demons through the portal. Very comic booky. Again, we're saying this a million times, but just the tiny action scene of like the stakes here aren't huge, but we do have little flying demons going into a magic theater, so we have to throw them into a portal. I liked that. I liked all of that. The way they were throwing them, the way they were stepping on them, the way the demons looked, like the whole design.
Yeah.
Was also thinking, okay, was this the world of our guy Mephisto? Because she did
Mephisto.
reference, a goat sacrifice or whatever. She said a guy named Jake. Mephisto went by a pseudonym Jack. Maybe she was misremembering, and his true form is a goat-like demon. Mephisto?
Mephisto confirmed again. Is this our next thumbnail? That's fuck, this guy Mephisto just keeps skating by us. I'm so goddamn mad. But again, I like that scene. It didn't mean much. I'm sure, like, if you're like, oh, I expect better scenes out of Marvel. I'm not expecting anything out of the Marvel shows. If anything that is entertaining, I'll take. And like you said, I guess you could show She-Hulk actually hulking up and beating the motherfucking shit out of people. Like, I just turned into Frank Tank. Beat the motherfucking shit out of
people. Beat the motherfucking shit out of Blooper.
That motherfucker. Like, I'm perfectly fine. She's like this weird, just green thing, just throwing these motherfuckers through the portals. That was fun. That was perfectly fun. It was silly, but it did feel like there was like a little bit of danger involved. She gets them to like drop the case or sign the waiver or whatever it was.
Yeah, she's like, all right. She puts the demon in front of their face. She's like, you agree to the terms of the cease and desist now? And they're like, maybe. Billy Walsh first says maybe. And then she's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah.
The other guy says, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, absolutely.
I love it. I love that there was just, it was, I don't know. I was very happy with it. I want
to give credit where it's due, too. I thought the CGI looked way better this week than it did last week, especially in this scene where she's on the couch with the oncologist or whatever, and she's just talking to him. I thought the actual like visual of She-Hulk, that was the best it's looked in the show. I don't know if it was the lighting, I don't know what it was, but I thought it looked really impressive.
Straddling him too. I mean, we're talking.
Yeah.
So watch this one.
you had to watch with your kids.
Watch this one with both the kids, and it was. I was like, how far are we gonna go? And listen, this is the thing about them, like making sure they're not coming down the stairs or anything. I kind of like that she got her fuck on at night. Like it's like assumed. I'm like, good. Like, Jen, get your rocks off. She-Hulk, whoever, obviously
she picked him up and brought him to the bedroom like that. That was very funny.
That was when the trailer came out, I remember, and then our boy Trill Withers, Tyler, he tweeted something like, "This is my dream woman" or something. I was thinking this could be another one of our teasers here. A-Rod dating She-Hulk. Because remember, A-Rod loves the girls that are fucking muscular toned. I think he was with Tori Wilson for a little while there, right?
I think he might have been, yeah.
And then I think like the girl he just broke up with, like he likes him fit. A-Rod would definitely be fucking She-Hulk.
Yeah,
definitely, 100%. Just like some.
I don't think the relationship would last, but it would exist.
And I just feel bad for Jen. She's a good-looking, successful woman.
I know. Yeah. That was another thing. Like, she turns into Jennifer in the morning, makes her guy breakfast. I don't know if you saw that, but there were 2 separate plates on the table. And I was like, oh my God, that breakfast looks good. Like, imagine waking up to breakfast. And then he sees that she's Jennifer and he goes, who are you? First of all, how do you not know? If like, you know anything about She-Hulk, like, you got to know there's 2 people, right? And she's like, I'm Jennifer, same as last night, just not in my other form. And he's like, I'm going to get out of here. And he runs out. Like she's like some fugly demon from the egg or whatever. Like, she's a good-looking girl. I don't know why you ran out like that.
She made you breakfast after she laid you. I mean, you just found the dream woman right there. I also, I thought
he was going to get down on one knee.
Yeah, exactly. We can start ring shopping right now. I also like to imagine that She-Hulk was the one who fresh squeezed. I don't know if it was grapefruit or the oranges. And I was like, that's not just making a thing of eggs real quick. That is some hard work and dedication.
Do you think she
to your
could turn just
massacre.
one hand into like a Hulk hand and like make
Yeah.
it quicker?
That, oh god, I hope we get an answer to that by the end of the season. I would really like to know that.
And then she straight up says, like at the end of the episode, we see Titania was released from prison. Immediately, a process server knocks on the door. She's like, "You're a process server, right?" And he's like, "Yep." Titania actually trademarked the name She-Hulk before you were able to get to it, so she's now suing you for it. Very funny, very real world, like legal issues between two rivals or whatever. And then She-Hulk looks at the camera and she's like, "It's a pretty depressing way to end the episode, but I'm sure we'll get a fun post-credit scene." And we do get a fun post-credit scene with our guy Wonger on the couch with Madison, kind of on a date.
And again, very like that we're all thinking like, oh man, that's a bummer for Jen. And then it's like, well, I hope the post credits is good. Reading our fucking minds from home. It was great.
Yeah.
The cease and desist stuff. It's funny. Like cease and desist is like one of my like top, I don't know, 100 used phrases over the last 7 years since I started at Barstool.
Such a Barstool thing. Yeah.
It's such a Barstool thing.
How many C&Ds has Barstool been issued over the years? 250?
I would say 1,000? Are we talking thousands right now, Bob?
At first I thought 100, and then I thought, yeah, fucking 100, definitely more than 100. Like, I remember getting my first one on a T-shirt. It was for this is funny, a "Sorry for Dartying" shirt that I did. That was a parody of a "Sorry for Partying" shirt. I remember bringing it to Erica and being like, "A shirt I did got a cease and desist. I'm so sorry." She's like, "Oh yeah, I'll put it in the pile." Like, we get them every other day, dude. Like, chill out.
Oh, the Roy Kent one. I got an email from the merch team, and they said, "Hey, good news and bad news. Good news, you hit the bonus on your first bonus on the Roy Kent shirt. Bad news, you got cease and desist immediately after." It's like, God,
it'll be your only bonus on that shirt. Yeah.
So cease and desist, that is straight out of the Barstool lexicon. I absolutely love it. And then even like the serving stuff. She's like, "I know a server when I see one." Also, I had to point this out when they're in the courtroom. And I think obviously it's the magician team. They call her, I believe, and then Wong, I think Your Highness, Your Excellency. Like they're calling them all the wrong names, and I'm like, this is just like the Basin Boys. We don't know anything about courtroom, lexicon or anything like that, decorum. And I felt very at home being around fucking a bunch of idiots. Obviously, Jen knows her way around the courtroom, but everyone else there was just completely lost, like we were.
They are 4 for 4 for me on She-Hulk, and it's so funny because this show is hated by a lot of the people that I think would be its actual biggest fans. Like the people they're writing this show for, some of them are taking the other, "Oh, it's woke stance and how you're going to make the MCU such a joke." But if you're a real diehard MCU nerd, there are so many little tidbits and funny things in this show that you would appreciate. One of the little Easter eggs this week was they had under her list of cases that she was looking through on the computer, one said Lee versus Byrne, and that is Stan Lee and I think John Byrne is his name, the two creators of She-Hulk. And it's like the little stuff like that, even I appreciate seeing when they made the little reference to Wolverine. Like a fucking Wolverine exists in the MCU, and it was confirmed by an MCU BuzzFeed article, essentially. Like, There's some crazy, awesome stuff in this show. If people aren't on it by now, I mean, you're probably not watching through the end of this recap if you're not on it already. But if your friends aren't on it, tell them, like, what are you doing? Put the CGI aside. The CGI is not great. But you know what? When I watch Return of the Jedi to this day, and I watch the speeder bike chase, there's a few moments where I say, the CGI is not great, but I don't think that in my head because it's just such a good thing that you put it aside. Almost do that for She-Hulk. I get that it's ridiculous that you have to do that in 2022. And I'm talking about a movie from the fucking 80s. I'm saying put the CGI aside. But the narrative of the show and the jokes of the show truly outweigh all that for me.
And let me be clear, if you are someone that spite watches She-Hulk and then spite watches our review of She-Hulk, God bless you. You have the purest hate in your soul. And I just want to give you a hug.
Keep doing it. Come back next week.
Keep doing it. And it's like, I don't want to give you a hug to like make the hate go away. I want to hug you because that is some pure hatred right there. That is Portnoy judgment level hatred. And I just appreciate the ever living shit out of you. I'm trying to think of like how I could put this. Maybe it's not my favorite MCU show. So far I feel like it's the most consistent though, right? Where WandaVision, the first 2 episodes, I did not like at all. I think pretty much, I remember when we were going to review, I was like, me and Robbie are going to have ourselves a battle here. And I would say Loki is probably the one that
Loki is pretty consistent.
Start to finish is pretty damn good, and it's consistent, and it's like layered, and there's a lot of really cool shit there. But just as like a comic fan, and like you said, I haven't even done the Easter egg videos for this because I don't know. It's like it's a half-hour show. We keep it light. We keep it pretty light in the basement too. I feel like I probably would learn a hell of a lot more. I didn't even pick up on the Wolverine thing until you did the video, and I was like, oh shit, there's Wolverine. Even like I'm telling you, when she said, can anything go inside you? And he's like, vibranium, and she kind of is like, do you have any? I think there might have been a little bit of a dildo joke. I'm not 100% sure about it, but I picked up it might have been a dildo joke. At least that's how I saw it. It's kind of fucked up now that I'm saying it out loud, but nonetheless. And then she also said, nothing on Earth can like penetrate my skin or something like that. And I was like, I feel like that's a little foreshadowing for some sort of spaceship when Bruce comes back. So again, a lot of dominoes being set up. Again, nothing major, nothing crazy. I don't think the Avengers movies are going to be set up by She-Hulk, but I do think it's fun. There's going to be some other stuff that's going to set up some different storylines and movies and shows in the future. And it's a cameo show. God bless it. It's a fucking cameo show. I hope don't change a thing.
Yeah.
Yes. If the showrunners are watching, which I'm going to say they are, they're diehard basement boys and girls. Don't change a thing because of the people who don't like you, because the people who like this show really fucking like it. And I hope more shows follow its lead. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but this is the kind of stuff I like. And half hour is magnifico.
Agreed. The half an hour is one of the best parts about it. It's such a tiny commitment of your week every week. And if you make the commitment and then you make the commitment to watch our recap show, thank you. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week to talk She-Hulk episode 5. Is there anything we should have them leave in the comments? A cameo guest for next week?
Yeah.
Could next week be the Daredevil week?
Yeah, let's get nuts with it. Is next week the Daredevil week? Is it Kingpin? Is it Mephisto? Is it Alex Rodriguez? I don't know. You tell me.
Leave it in the comments. We'll see you next week.
Best guess, and not like the most accurate guess. Best guess gets the shout out, wins Basement Boy or Girl of the Week next week.
There we go.